Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I'm speaking with Alex Spangler of BODAGGIT. He's just released a seriously fantastic new track. It is called Bud Heavy. I'm super excited to talk to him all about it. Alex, I want to thank you so much for being here. How are you doing today? What's going on?
Hey, I'm doing good. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to the interview, so
Same. No, truly, like as soon
good.
as this song got sent over, I was like, this is going to be a good conversation because I have a feeling we already listen to the same things and we have the same
Yeah.
influences and all that stuff. Um, like I was saying before we started recording here, is I love this song. I think everyone who listens to it is going to. I'm not saying that facetiously. Truly, like it's just a
Appreciate it.
ripper of a track.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, the first thing I want to know before we get to the other stuff is like, what's it about? What does the song title represent? What's the lore of the song?
Yeah, it's kind of goofy, I guess. It's Most of it's about being on the road with this old band I used to be in.
Okay,
Um, and it was just kind of like this kind of like picturesque. Like we spent a few days in New York, staying with one of our friends, just like getting to hang out in the city, like do all this like cool shit together. We played a show in it was in Queens. It was cool. And I met a friend there. Um, and we got to like spend a little bit of time together. Um, and like that's kind of what like the basis of the song is.
okay,
And kind of like just juxtaposing that with just like returning home, and it's like you got to go back to like your day to day.
yeah.
Um, which like I love Lexington, I love Kentucky, but just like coming off of like that high of like being on the road and like
Oh
New
yeah, man.
York is like my favorite place I've ever been.
Right, that New York high is a very real thing.
Yeah,
And
uh,
like no shade on Kentucky or anything, but like
yeah,
New York's New York. So to go
exactly.
back and your life get brought back down in a sense, I completely understand.
Yeah, so it's just kind of just about thinking back to that. Just kind of like I worked at this chicken place for like a week and a half. The staff and the management was pretty whack. It
Yeah.
was a toxic work environment, but there's a line in the song. It's like, excuse me, it's like wake up time for chicken joint. It's
I
like at the
was wondering. I was
yeah.
wondering what that was.
So it was just kind of like trying to make the best of it, just like joking about it. It's like, well, fuck, I gotta go back to the damn
Right.
chicken restaurant, just kind of like settling back into that. And yeah.
Totally get that. The thing that among many things that I love about the song is it really kicks off with a bang. Like
Hmm.
there's hardly an intro, it just right into it. Like you don't waste a second, which with a rock song like this, I think is kind of the best thing. You kind of, you have to draw people's attention and not have them click away from it.
Yeah.
And then obviously the rest of the thing just lives up to like everything that I'm talking about here. As a multi-instrumentalist and someone who put the song together themselves, how do you even start to go about that? Because like I play the guitar and I'm fine, but incorporating everything else into it has to be difficult, right?
It's I kind of look at it the same way. It's like I play guitar. I'm not like I'm not really great at any single instrument. So I try to just like approach it as like,
Okay,
how can I play these instruments that complement each other? Um,
sure.
I think in this one I was kind of just like dicking around on the guitar one day, and I played like the main, I guess, like chord progression in the verse, and it sounded like this progression in this car seat headrest song called "Cute Thing."
Yeah.
Um, so it's like, maybe it's like a bit of a rip off in that sense, but there are only 12 notes, so there's only so much you can do. But
Listen, like
uh,
mathematically, there's only so many chord progressions out there and
yeah,
sounds you can
yep,
make.
exactly.
You're not getting sued over. I totally
I hope not.
understand. Absolutely not. And another great thing was like I listened to the song before I read anything about you, just to go in blind. And as I'm listening, I'm like, this is a very strokesy feeling
Yeah.
song, and which is like for me the highest of compliments because they're one of my all-time favorite bands.
Yeah,
But
same.
you managed to create the instrumental in a way that is not ripping them off in the slightest, but the influence is there, which is so unbelievably like difficult to do. So for someone, and then obviously, after reading about you and it was mentioned, I was like, oh, nice. Yeah, this totally makes sense.
Yeah.
How do you go about creating like the blueprint of the song without pulling too much from someone or something?
Um, I guess like most of the writing I do is like, I guess for me there's kind of like a holy trinity where it's like the Strokes and like their guitar work.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh my god.
then like the old Weezer stuff because I'm like really into that. This song isn't like very much like a power pop song,
No.
but it's kind of like a big part of like the the music I write is just that
Right.
like crunchy, just like kind of like driving guitar, like rhythm guitar kind of stuff.
Sure.
And then like I'm like really into guitar harmonies. They're my favorite thing in the world. So just kind of like the old like Thin Lizzy stuff. And then I guess like a kind of like more modern example would be like Tony Molina and like the Oven stuff.
Okay.
So just kind of like bringing everything, like combining like those three like main kind of like, you know, core pieces of like my musical interests. And yeah, the I guess like for this one, like the chorus, like with the kind of call and response guitars,
Mhm.
I thought that sounded very Strokesy.
Oh, that's what
And,
like perked my ears up immediately. You had
yeah.
them interweaving between each other, and I was
Mhm.
just like, yeah, this is full on Strokes, but in a way that like is not the same tone. Like you, and again, not ripping off, but you managed to take their sound and still do something unique with it, which is so difficult to do.
I appreciate that because that's it's something that like I feel like a lot of artists stress about, like myself included,
Yeah,
like wearing your influences on your sleeve like too much and like not
yeah.
you don't want to be like blatant. Um, and then in terms of like the guitar harmonies and just like the intertwining kind of guitar parts, like it's you got to find that point, I guess, where it's like, is there too much going on, or is it like, does it fit well? Um, and that's something I've kind of had to work on is just like
Sure.
toning back a lot of just like the and just kind of like bringing everything back in, just kind of like pulling on the reins a little bit, and
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think any artist has to be a baseline perfectionist in some way. I'm
yeah.
sure you've listened to the song more than anyone else has. So you've gone through it with, just the closest ear possible, trying to make sure that that's not happening. Let me tell you, like, the hard work was worth it in this
Good.
case.
Thank you, man. That's very
Yeah.
nice.
Another thing that sticks out here is that obviously the song is rooted in rock, but there's a lot more going on in it that I had kind of a hard time like labeling it genre wise because there's so much influence from so much. Like, how are you pitching this to people, and what are you calling it when people ask you about it?
Um, I I guess it's like the blanket term would be kind of just like indie punk.
Sure.
I feel like it definitely has like kind of like a lo-fi like bedroom pop kind of like aesthetic to it as well.
Yeah.
Some of that was some of that's intentional, but some of it was just like cutting my teeth on GarageBand. I didn't have access to like live drums and everything,
Yeah.
so I when I like the first couple EPs I did, I didn't really like the like electronic drum sound. Um, but I switched over to Ableton because my roommate has it. He's like my producer and all that.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask you about that,
Yeah, and
but
it's just there's like a huge just like array, like a plethora of different drum sounds and textures, and um, yeah, I just kind of opened things up a lot more.
yeah,
So I went into this release like feeling more confident with just like the I guess like the like the skeleton, like the bones of the track. It's like the recording quality is a little bit better. I feel like I'm able to kind of get it to sound more the way I want it to. So
absolutely.
yeah, it was fun.
No, and the difference between GarageBand and Ableton is literal day and night. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
I've messed around on GarageBand for hours, just, not making anything serious, but playing around with all the different sounds and styles and this and that. And I fully agree about the electronic drums. They feel, I mean, obviously they're not real, they're not in the room with you, so they do feel fake, but they're missing some sort of like depth or texture about them. Obviously, Ableton has so much more capacity to really like bring it into the room and make it feel like, it's happening.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, it's like GarageBand was like Like some people can make really good sounding stuff with GarageBand, but I can never really quite, figure it out.
Yeah, it's not worth it in that point. Like, pay for the
Yeah.
better program, use your roommate who's the producer to do it for you. I completely understand.
I'm definitely lucky to have him.
Yeah,
He's
absolutely. Well, listen, man, producing music is like speaking another language. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can be proficient at playing the instruments, but actually putting the final touches on it, that's the difficult part.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to do it. I mean,
Absolutely not. No
he's
way.
he's a wizard. He's great at what he does. His name's
Totally.
Evan
Yeah,
Ray.
shout him out. Shout him out.
Like,
Absolutely.
put that plug in there. His Instagram is Evan Ray Music.
Cool.
So if you like the way this sounds and you're looking for someone to produce, hit him.
Absolutely.
He's fantastic.
Um, I also want to know how you actually create music. I know everyone does it in different ways, whether, you're driving in the car and a melody comes to you, or just in like the most inopportune time
Oh,
to create a
definitely.
song. But do you have a blueprint for it, or do you kind of just, fit the pieces in like a puzzle?
I kind of like the latter. It's different every time. Like I don't really have like a
Yeah.
go-to method or like place.
Okay.
And as much as I'd like to be, like I'm not one of those musicians that's like I'm gonna sit down and like work on writing or like
Yeah.
it just kind of hits. It's like more like sporadically, I guess.
Yeah. That makes
Uh,
sense. I mean, you also have to live your life in order to experience things to write the music.
exactly.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think this one was actually kind of opposite what I was just saying. It was like I was just like I want to try to like put something down,
Sure.
feeling inspired that day, and I just kind of started like riffing it out. But
Nice.
that usually doesn't kind of happen. A lot of it will be like thinking of a melody at work or something, and then I have to like sneak away and then like hum it into my voice recorder.
Say
Like a fucking
it's the
psycho.
best. What is this guy doing over here?
One time, my old job, my manager came up and she was like very like anti-phone during.
Sure.
I was like just like talking into it. She was like, "Hey, get off your phone." And you can't really explain. It's like, "Hey, I'm like humming this thing." It was just like
Right. Like, I'm not
your
texting. This
phone.
is purely artistic. You have to understand.
She didn't give a shit. She was just like,
Of course
"Give it."
not.
Yeah,
Yeah, classic manager.
not
Pains
for
in the
real.
asses. Have you gotten the opportunity to play your music live yet?
Yeah, like I had back in like 2022, I guess I had a
Okay.
live band, just kind
Nice.
of based around like my first EP. And this past Saturday actually it was like I've been doing solo stuff for a little bit, but I
Sure.
finally got to do the full band stuff again. And I played several of the tracks off the upcoming album, so that was cool.
Nice.
Like they're both fun in their own way, but just I write the music for like the whole
Yeah,
composition, the whole like kind of band environment. So
I understand. How are you arranging them if you're, playing by yourself?
well, there are some songs that I can't really play.
Right.
I have to be really selective. Um, which like it's kind of been cool in a way because it's forced me to kind of think about songwriting a little bit differently,
Sure.
and I've been writing more like vocally driven stuff as opposed to like putting more of that weight on the guitars. So I guess moving forward is it'll be kind of cool to see like maybe if there's like some kind of mix between the two, like songwriting kind of like ethos, I guess. I don't know.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, as you grow, you can get a band back and do that thing. But in the meantime, it's really hard to stretch yourself thin in
Mhm.
terms of like, I want to play live shows, but I also want to do the recording and I also want to have a life. So like, how do I do this
Yeah,
thing?
no, for
Yeah,
sure.
I get that.
But yeah, I got a like a really good lineup of like some of like my really good buddies in the scene.
Yeah,
Evan, the one I mentioned before, he's playing drums for it. He's also a good drummer.
nice.
Um, so yeah, it's just kind of been cool like getting that going again and just like getting up there with my buddies and like getting
Yeah,
to hear the
man.
songs, I guess, kind of more as they were like, I guess, intended, maybe like for lack of a better word.
No, that is the word. Because like, you listen to it and someone becomes a fan of the song, they want to hear it played how it sounds. So
Yeah,
stripping them back is difficult, but it's easier on you and it's all part of the growing process. Like, that's the thing.
yeah,
So I
definitely.
get it. Is there a song of yours though that you most look forward to playing?
There's this one, it's gonna be on the album. We played it this last Saturday. It's like it's an instrumental song. It's kind of like an interlude, I guess.
Okay.
Um, for whatever reason, it's my favorite one to play. Because it kind of starts off as like kind of like a slow like kind of surf rock thing,
Sure.
and it's just kind of like like a rising action kind of throughout the song, and then the end is just big, and there's like there's this guitar harmony part that I like a lot, and so it was really fun to play live, and it was fun to practice. So I'd say that one, but even though it's just kind of like an interlude, I don't know, I really enjoy playing it.
No, I get it, man. It gives you an opportunity to kind of jam out. And I think,
Sure, yeah,
first off, I know this might sound stupid, but I think instrumental music is extremely underrated still.
I
Like
agree. Yeah,
so many people, they need they need like 100 things coming at them to pay attention.
yeah.
Sometimes you can just sink into instrumental music and kind of lose yourself in it.
Hmm.
And when done right, it's some of the best music out there. So
Oh, for sure. And
fully
I
agree.
tried to keep it like short and sweet because a lot of people like myself included, like the attention spans aren't what they used to be. So I've been trying to write shorter music, just
Yeah.
kind of like 2.5, 3 minutes, just like simplify it a
No,
little bit.
I
And
get that. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it actually kind of contains you in obviously keeping people's attention, but at the same time, like every second matters in that
yeah,
case. Like,
yeah,
I love a good 3 to 4 minute guitar solo, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, sometimes it's nice to just have like this one little chunk of music that is
yeah.
perfect from moment to moment. So
Hmm.
completely understand. Um, we we just passed like the halfway point of this year, like 2 weeks ago, which is honestly ridiculous.
Not myself.
But so crazy. What's going on for the rest of this year that you're excited about, or just things that are in motion you'd like to talk about?
Yeah. So there's a my buddy Jeremiah. He started like a local label here in Lexington.
Nice.
Um, it kind of just like covers, I think ideally he wants to cover different parts of the state, but
Sure.
right now it's kind of just like localized, but because he lives here as well. But he hit me up, and we, both decided it'd be a good fit. So I signed to his label. It's
Sweet.
Metal Revolution. Um,
Cool.
and I've never really done anything like this, like not had an opportunity, like, someone who's knowledgeable and like passionate, just kind of like, you know, looking out, for me and like, just kind of like just like putting his best foot forward and kind of getting my stuff out there. And
Yeah, I was
it's
gonna say, the not to interrupt you, but I'm actually really interested about this. As someone who's an independent artist who signs with a label for the first time, what are, not we don't need to get into the contract side of things, but what are like not even necessarily promises, but just like things that you want to see happen being signed to a small label?
yeah, I mean, I honestly didn't really expect this. It kind of like fell into my lap, and I was,
Sure.
excited when he reached out
Yeah.
because he's someone that I've known for a while and I trust. I've like worked with him, like he's made my merch for the last few years.
Sweet. Okay.
Um, that
Always
kind
trust a merch guy.
for
100%.
sure. Yeah,
Seriously though, yeah.
yeah. But it was kind of just like I wasn't like tentative at first, but I was like, I was like, I'm gonna go into it with an open mind. I don't want to just be like, all in,
Yeah.
you know, like see how this is gonna like kind of work. But yeah, I mean, he's like, it's it's a favorable deal. He takes care of a lot of like the distribution stuff. He got, he designed the shirt, the album art, like everything that's coming
Sweet.
out for release. Got my stuff on his website, kind of did like
Very cool.
it's like a tape and like a shirt bundle, like a
Oh,
merch.
okay, cool. Yeah, and again, like I'll say it at the end, but we're gonna have the links to all this stuff.
Yeah, no, I
So
appreciate that. But yeah, he just, the old band I was in, like we were completely DIY, and it was just
sure.
you get spread thin, it's
It's a
exhausting.
full-time job. It's a hundred
Yeah,
percent a
and
full-time job.
it's been cool, and kind of refreshing to just have like this new found sense of like support.
Yeah, and a little bit of weight off your shoulders, which then you can channel back into the music. It's yeah,
Mhm.
that's awesome,
Yeah,
man.
it's been nice.
That's so cool. I really hope it works out. Like from the brief conversation I had with him, I was just like,
Yeah.
yeah. this guy knows what he's doing. This is good.
He's a good dude.
Yeah,
I knew as soon as like I signed on, I was like, he's gonna look out for me. He's gonna take care of me. Like, like
totally.
so.
I have a couple more questions for you. Normally, I don't ask this one, but I like to ask it when I know that we probably have similar influences. So, who are some bands that you're enjoying right now? And do you ever find it difficult to not incorporate their sound into your music?
Yeah. There's this band. Have you heard of The Garden?
Oh, yeah. I saw them like maybe a couple months ago.
Oh
Jesus
yeah.
Christ. What a show. Yeah.
Um, that one of them has a side project. I think it's Wyatt. It's called
Oh,
Enjoy,
okay. I did
and
not
it's
know
just
that.
like he kind of like builds on the garden stuff, but it like he'll have like two or three basses and like synth.
Nice.
Instead of just kind of like the more like punk, just like one bass, vocals, and drums kind of thing.
Right.
So that's I've been into that for like the last probably 6 months to a year.
What was the band called?
Enjoy, like
Enjoy. Okay.
yeah,
Oh, okay. Got it. Got it.
yeah. That's been
Nice.
really cool. There's a band called Washer.
Okay.
They're a punk duo from one lives in Brooklyn, one lives in Philly. Um, they're really cool. It's just like a very like just like kind of scrappy like DIY. They make every moment count, kind of like what you were saying with
Right.
their music. Um, so I've taken a lot of inspiration from them. Just kind of like making your songs. I guess kind of like more impactful, like more intentional songwriting kind of
Yeah.
stuff, making all the elements count.
I think that's
Um,
kind of a trend in punk music though. Like there are very rarely like 10 plus minute punk songs. They
yeah,
they get in, they get out, they get the point across and see you
yeah,
later.
yeah,
So
definitely.
I get that.
Um, just like a third one is I've always been a big No Effects fan,
Oh yeah.
but here recently, like I've been maybe it's because they're on their farewell tour, but I've been listening to them like more than I have in like years.
Cool.
Um, I feel like they've kind of inspired my music a lot too.
Sure.
Um, they do like the kind of like octave chord like lead kind of thing. I don't
Right.
even know what to call it. I don't. I'm kind of a bonehead when it comes to like theory and
Doesn't
all.
matter. You
Uh,
do not need to know theory in order to make good music. That's
true. That's
not
true.
a
Um,
thing.
but yeah,
Sweet, man.
I use some of that like even in like Bud Heavy, just like the octave leads and kind of
Yeah.
just so yeah. I guess to answer like the second part of the question, like it can be hard to like not use like the bands you're listening to like influence your sound.
Right.
Because I feel like even if you don't do it intentionally, like subconsciously, there are elements of their stuff that kind of like rubs off on you.
Sure. Nice. No, good answers, man. My last question for you here is it's basically for the person that is going to discover you from this interview, what is an opening message you'd like to say to them before they listen to your music for the first time?
Uh, keep on rocking in the free world.
Yes.
I guess I don't know. It's man, that's a profound question.
Yeah.
Um,
There's
I
no
read a
no
book
wrong
about
answers.
branding your music, and they're all, like one of the things was like always have the answer to this question, like how do you describe your band and your sound and like your like, ethos, because someone's
Sure.
gonna ask you, and I always blank on it.
It's not even about describing you, more just like a hey, I'm Alex and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the first one, just the keep on rocking
Cool.
the world.
That's all
Do
people
your
need to
thing.
know.
Take care of your loved ones and do what you want to do.
Yeah,
And
perfect.
yeah,
Does not need to be this long, thought out, methodical answer. That one's perfect. Listen, I wanna thank you so much. But before we wrap up here, I want to plug your music for you before we end. So, if you didn't catch it the first time around, the band's name is BODAGGIT. The song is called Bud Heavy. We will have the links to everything in our article where you can listen, share, follow along. Just stay tuned for everything else. This was honestly, this was so much fun getting to talk to you, and I want to thank you so much for your time. Truly,
well, thanks for having me, man.
you're very welcome. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I hope to speak soon.
Hey, you too, man. Appreciate it.
Cool, man. All right, take care.
See
Bye
you.
bye.